I have done 30 plus certifications and am here to guide you throughout your certification journey. In this video, we will be covering some important questions of the Microsoft PL-400 exam. You can find the complete PDF of this video and our practice questions through the link down in the description. To the important questions. Question 1. You plan to create a Canvas app to manage large sets of records. Users will filter and sort the data. You must implement delegation in the Canvas app to mitigate potential performance issues. You need to recommend data sources for the app. Which two data sources should you recommend? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have C, Azure Data Factory. It is not a data source for Power Apps, it is used for data integration. Then we have Azure Table Storage. It has no delegation support and causes performance issues with large datasets. As such, the two data sources that we should recommend are SQL Server and Common Data Service. Thus, the correct options are A and B. When you are creating reports from large data sources, you want to minimize network traffic. Working with large datasets requires using data sources and formulas that can be delegated. It is the only way to keep your app performing well and ensure users can access all the information they need. Delegation is supported for certain tabular data sources only. These tabular data sources are the most popular and they support delegation. Common data service, SharePoint, SQL Server. Question 2. Company plans to create an order processing app. When orders are created, the app will perform complex business logic and integrate with several external systems. Orders that have a large number of line items may take up to 6 minutes to complete. Processing for each order must be completed in one operation to avoid leaving records in an incomplete state. You need to recommend a solution for the company. What should you recommend? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have an asynchronous workflow that uses a custom workflow activity. It does not work in real time and may leave incomplete records. Then we have C, a webhook that connects to an Azure function. It is stateless and asynchronous and not atomic. Then we have D, an asynchronous plugin. It has background processing and is not immediate. As such, the option that we should recommend is a real time workflow that uses a custom action. As such, the correct option is B. Real time workflows roll back all changes if it fails. As the workflow is going through the process itself, if it fails, it will roll back all of the prior steps taken. Question 3. You are implementing custom business logic in Power Apps portal. You need to use liquid templates to display dynamic content. To which three entities can you include liquid code? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Content snippet. It does not support liquid and is primarily used for static text or HTML. Then we have E. Portal settings. It is used for configuration, not for displaying dynamic content with liquid. As such, the three entities that we should include are web page, web template, and page template. Thus, the correct options are B, C, and D. Liquid is an open source template language integrated into portals. It can be used to add dynamic content to pages and to create a wide variety of custom templates. Using Liquid, you can add dynamic content directly through the copy field of a web page or the content of a content snippet. Store source content by using web templates entirely through configuration within Power Apps for use throughout the Power Apps portal's content management system. Render a website header and primary navigation bar entirely through configuration with Power Apps. Note, page is one of the available Liquid objects. Question 4. Company is migrating from an on-premises Dynamics 365 installation to a Power Platform solution. You are creating plugins for the new solution. You need to register the plugins. Which isolation mode should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, none. It is not supported for cloud environments and used only for on-premises installation. Then we have B, global assembly cache. It is not applicable for Power Platform and is specific to on-premises deployment. Then we have D, disk. It is not a valid isolation mode for plugins in Dynamics 365 or Power Platform. As such, the isolation mode that we should use is Sandbox. Thus, the correct option is C. You will find options related to the isolation mode and location for the assembly. These refer to options that apply to on-premises deployments. Dataverse is not available for on-premises deployments, so you will always accept the default options of Sandbox and database for these options. Question 5. You are building a test application in Azure to process resumes for the HR department. The app will monitor submissions of resumes and parse the resumes. You need to pass the resumes and save contact and skills information into the common data service. Which mechanism should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, common data service plugin. Plugins execute custom logic in response to Dataverse events but cannot monitor external systems or parse resumes. Then we have C, Web API. While powerful, it requires custom development and doesn't directly support resume parsing or workflow automation. And then we have D, custom workflow activity, limited to workflow logic within Dataverse and not suitable for external event monitoring or parsing. Thus, the mechanism that we should use is A, Power Automate. As such, the correct option is A. Power Automate is correct because it enables the automation of workflows and data integration. Power Automate can monitor resume submissions, parse the content using AI Builder or other parsing tools, and then save the extracted content and skills information into common data service. It is user friendly and integrates seamlessly with Dataverse. Question 6. You are configuring a custom connector for a web service. The web service is hosted in two different regions. The web service URL includes a common domain name and a unique subdomain for each region. The custom connector must allow the region to be entered for additional regions when creating the connection. You need to create a policy template. Which template type should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, set HTTP header. It configures HTTP headers but cannot dynamically change the base URL. Then we have B, route request. It is used for routing requests but does not allow for dynamic URL customization. Then we have D, set query string parameter. It configures query string parameters in the URL, not the base or host URL. As such, the template type that we should use is set host URL. Thus, the correct option is C. The custom connector needs to allow the region to be entered and the URL includes a unique subdomain for each region. So, the host URL needs to be set dynamically based on the region entered by the user. The template type set host URL allows you to set the hostname of the request URL dynamically. Question 7. You are a Power Apps maker creating a chatbot for a website. The chatbot must recognize geographic attributes to enable additional functionality. You need to recommend a feature. What should you recommend? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, fallback topic. It handles unrecognized inputs but does not manage attribute recognition or data collection. Then we have B, Power Automate Flow. It is used for automating processes but not for recognizing specific attributes in a chatbot. Then we have C, Bot Service Compliance. It refers to security and regulatory compliance, not functionality for recognizing attributes. As such, based on this, we should recommend slot filling. Thus, the correct option is D. Slot filling is correct because it allows the bot to capture and process specific pieces of information, such as geographic attributes, from user input during a conversation. Slot filling ensures that required data is collected systematically before proceeding to the next step in the dialog. Question 8. You develop and deploy a Power App solution. The following changes must be made to the solution. Delete a column of data, modify several views, add several charts to dashboards. You need to redeploy the app. What should you do? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Update the solution. Updates modify an existing solution without incrementing its version, typically used for smaller, less complex changes. Then we have C. Create a new solution. Redeployment does not require starting from scratch. Then we have D. Patch the solution. It is used for minor updates or fixes, not for structural changes like deleting columns or modifying dashboards. As such, based on this, we should upgrade the solution. Thus, the correct option is B. Upgrade the solution is correct because upgrading a solution allows you to deploy significant changes such as deleting columns, modifying views, and adding charts to dashboards. Grading ensures that the new version of the solution replaces the previous one while maintaining data and customizations where applicable. Question 9. Company designs a Microsoft Dataverse custom API to encapsulate business logic in it. The custom API business logic must be encapsulated in a way that does not allow the business logic behavior to be modified or cancelled. You need to set the parameter value of the custom API so it cannot be customized. Which parameter value should you set? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Execute privilege name to PRV underscore SDK message processing step. This parameter controls permissions for execution but does not affect the modifiability of the business logic. Then we have B. Enabled for workflow to know. It disables usage in workflows but does not prevent the modification of the API logic. Then we have C. Binding type to entity. It defines how the API is associated with Dataverse entities but does not control the behavior of business logic. As such, the parameter value that we should set is custom processing step to none. Thus, the correct option is D. When the plugin set for this custom API using custom API.plugin type ID is the only logic that occurs when this operation executes. You won't allow another developer to register any more steps that can trigger other logic, modify the behavior of this operation, or cancel the operation. Use this option when the custom API provides some capability that shouldn't be customizable. Question 10. A company has a model driven app form. Many users use the form. Users state that the form takes too long to fully load. You need to evaluate the form design to improve loading performance. Which three control types can you use? Firstly, let us eliminate the incorrect option. We have a timeline. The timeline control is not inherently associated with form loading performance. Its impact is typically minimal compared to the other controls. As such, the three control types that we can use are quick view form, iframe, and lookup. Thus, the correct options are B, C, and D. Quick view form. It displays data from related entities. Reducing the number of quick view forms can improve load time as they fetch additional data during form load. Then we have iframe. It embeds external content. Overuse or slow external content in iframes can delay the form load time. Optimizing or avoiding iframes can help. Then we have lookup. It fetches related entity data. Optimizing the number of lookups or ensuring efficient queries can improve performance. Question 11. Financial institution that has a Dynamics 365 sales environment requires that the account balance field from the account entity be visible to specific users only. You need to set up the field security for the account balance field. Which three actions should you perform? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Set the field to read only and then publish the entity. Read only settings control editing but do not secure the field from unauthorized users. Then we have C. Create a security role and add the specific users to the role. Security roles govern access to entities, not field level security. As such, The three actions that we should perform are set the field permission allow read to yes and add the users to the members section, enable field security and then publish the entity, and then publish the entity and create a field security profile. Thus, the correct options are B, D, and E. About the options, enable field security and then publish the entity. This step makes the field eligible for field level security and applies the changes. Create a field security profile. Field security profile allows you to define which users or teams have access to secured files. Set the field permission allow read to yes and add the users to the member section. This configures the security profile to allow specific users or teams to view the field. Question 12. You are creating a new page for a Power Apps portal. You need to display data from Microsoft Dataverse on the page. What should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, CSS. It is used for styling the page, not for retrieving or displaying data. Then we have C, iframe. It embeds external content but is not an efficient or standard way to display Dataverse data in a portal. Then we have D, bootstrap. It is a framework. It is a framework for responsive design, not for accessing or displaying data. As such, based on this, we should use Liquid. Thus, the correct option is A. Liquid is an open source template language that is integrated natively into Microsoft Power Apps portals. It acts as a bridge between Dataverse and the HTML or text output that is sent to the browser. Liquid can be used to add dynamic content to pages and to create a variety of custom templates. Additionally, Liquid provides access only to the data and operations that are explicitly allowed by the portals. Question 13. You are developing a model driven app. The app uses data from two custom tables. The tables have a parent child relationship. The parent record form contains a subgrid that displays the child records. When creating a new child record from the parent form, data must automatically populate in the child record form to reduce data input errors. You need to implement the solution. What should you do? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Use a Power Automate flow to read data from the parent record and update the child record upon creation. It is overhead for this scenario, unnecessary for simple data population tasks that column mapping can handle natively. Then we have C. Create a business rule that sets the default values on the child record fields to values from the parent record. Business rules are for real-time field validation or setting default values, but they do not natively transfer data from parent to child records. Then we have D. Include a quick view form on the child record showing the data from the parent record. It displays parent data on the child form but does not populate fields or reduce data entry. As such, based on this, we should map table columns from the parent record to the child record. Thus, the correct option is B. A subgrid exists within a main form and lets app users view data within a Dataverse table, typically related to the record currently being reviewed. Question 14. You are developing a Power Platform solution for a medical practice. You create a custom table named doctors to record details about the doctors who work at a medical practice. You must be able to attach a PDF copy of a doctor's medical license to the row for each doctor. You need to configure the table. What should you do? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Create a Power Automate flow to add attachments. Power Automate is necessary for attaching files as this can be achieved directly through table configuration. Then we have B. Navigate to table options and enable attachments. Attachments are not enabled at the table level, they are managed at the column level. Then we have D. Create relationships between the doctor table and the notes table. Notes allow file attachments, but this approach is unnecessary for a direct file storage on a table. As such, we should navigate to column options and enable attachments. Thus, the correct option is C. A file column is used for storing file data to a specified maximum size. A custom or customizable table can have 0 or more file columns plus a nodes collection with 0 to 1 attachments in each node. Question 15. You plan to populate records in a Microsoft Dataverse entity containing an option set field. The source system has the label for the option set but not the corresponding integer value. You are using a non.NET programming language. You need to find the integer value for the option set. What should you do? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, use web API and use a picklist attribute metadata request. While web API supports retrieving metadata, picklist attribute metadata is not a valid request in this context. Then we have C, use the web API and use an insert option value action. This action is for adding new options to an option set, not retrieving existing values. Then we have D, use the organization service and execute a retrieve attribute request. It retrieves metadata for an attribute, but does not directly fetch option set values and labels. As such, we should use the organization service and execute a retrieve option set request. Thus, the correct option is B. You can retrieve a global choice by name using the retrieve option set request message. Question 16. The communication department for a company plans to add a publicly accessible survey page to the company's public website. You must add the new survey page to the company's public website and capture data from the page to a Microsoft Dataverse environment. Explicit user credentials must not be required to write survey data to Dataverse. You need to implement authentication. Which authentication mechanism should you implement? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, ADFS. It provides authentication but is typically used for internal federated identity scenarios, not for public facing survey submissions. Then we have C, Azure Guest Account. It is designed for providing external users access to Azure resources, but it requires explicit user credentials, which contradicts the requirement. Then we have D, client secret. It is used in app to app communication or service to service authentication, but not suitable for public service scenarios as it doesn't align with secure public facing forms. As such, the authentication mechanism that we should implement Azure AD conditional access. As such, the correct option is B. Azure AD conditional access is correct because it allows secure and conditional access to Dataverse without requiring explicit user credentials for each service submission. This mechanism ensures only authorized requests can access Dataverse while maintaining a seamless user experience on the public website. Question 17. You are mapping data from an enterprise resource planning system to Microsoft Dataverse. You must reference the name and email from the ERP system during mapping to ensure that records are unique. You need to create an alternate key that references the name and email columns. How should you create the key? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, add a Power Apps command function. Command functions are used for UI customization, not for creating alternate keys. Then we have B, use PowerFX. PowerFX is a low-code formula language for business logic and UI, not for configuring keys in Dataverse. Then we have C, add column to the account table in Dataverse. Adding a column does not create an alternate key. You need to explicitly define a key in the table settings. As such, the correct option is create a key in the account table in Dataverse. Thus, the correct option is D. Create a key in the account table in Dataverse is correct because alternate keys in Dataverse are used to uniquely identify records based on one or more columns. By creating an alternate key in the account table that references the name and email columns, you can ensure that these fields are treated as unique identifiers for records during data integration or mapping. Question 18. You are developing a Power Apps app to manage records in the account table in Microsoft Dataverse. You must configure a web API request to retrieve changes from the table. You need to configure the preference header for the API request. What should you include in the request header? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have a odata.nextlink. It is used for pagination to fetch the next set of results in large datasets but does not handle incremental changes. Then we have B, OData.context. It provides metadata about the request and response but is not related to retrieving changes or deltas. As such, we should include OData.delta link in the request header. Thus, the correct option is C. OData.delta link is correct because the OData.delta link header is used in web API requests to retrieve changes from a table in Microsoft Dataverse. When querying for incremental changes, the OData.delta link provides a URL that can be used to fetch only the changes since the last request, optimizing data synchronization. Question 19. You enable change tracking on the account table in Microsoft Dataverse. You plan to use the organization service to retrieve the Delta data by using C Sharp. You need to determine which message to use. What should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Retrieve attribute request. It retrieves metadata about attributes in an entity but does not fetch delta changes. Then we have C. Retrieve entity changes request. This message is valid for the organization service but not for OData based APIs. Since the question specifies OData.track changes, this option is not applicable here. Then we have D. Update entity request. It is used to update metadata for an entity, not for retrieving changes. And then we have E. Update request. It is used to update data in a record, not for retrieving deltas. As such, we should use OData.track changes. Thus, the correct option is B. OData.track changes is correct because OData.track changes is the mechanism used to retrieve incremental changes from a table when change tracking is enabled in Microsoft Dataverse. It provides a way to query only the change data since the last retrieval, which is particularly useful for synchronization scenarios. Question 20. Which permissions does a managed identity have on Microsoft Dataverse data? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Permissions assigned to the corresponding application user. Managed identities are not associated with application users directly in Dataverse. They rely on the context of the Azure resource. Then we have C. Permissions equivalent to the environment admin role. Managed identities do not automatically inherit admin level permissions unless explicitly configured. Then we have D. Permissions equivalent to the system administrator role. Managed identities do not inherently have full admin access. Permissions must be explicitly granted. As such, the permissions that a managed identity have on Microsoft Dataverse data are the permissions assigned to the user, triggering the Azure resource. Thus, the correct option is B. B is correct because managed identity relies on the permissions of the user or system that is invoking Azure resource. The managed identity itself does not inherently have Dataverse permissions. Instead, its access is determined by the context of the triggering user or application. Question 21. You create a model driven app. You run Solution Checker. The tool displays the following error. Solution Checker fails to export solutions with model driven app components. You need to resolve this issue. What should you do? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Manually export the solution before running Solution Checker. Manually exporting does not address the permission issue related to the application user. Then we have C, assign the system administrator security role to your user ID. Your user ID is unrelated to the issue. The permission problem concerns the Power Apps Checker application user. Then we have D, disable the Power Apps Checker application user. Disabling the application user will prevent the solution checker from functioning altogether. Disabling the application user will prevent the solution checker from functioning altogether. Then we have E, assign the environment maker security role to your user ID. Your user ID's permissions are not relevant to this issue. The required role must be assigned to the application user. As such, the option that remains and is the correct one is assign the environment maker security role to the Power Apps Checker application user. Thus, the correct option is B. To resolve this issue, grant the environment maker security role to the Power Apps Checker application user. Note, Solution Checker fails to export solutions with model-driven app components. If a solution contains a model-driven app, Solution Checker might fail to export the solution for analysis. This error is caused by role-based security for sharing of apps. If the Power Apps Checker application user does not have appropriate access to model-driven apps, any solution containing them will fail to export with Solution Checker. Question 22. A company uses a model driven app to record details of laboratory test. You are asked to create a custom component that makes it easier to capture multiple values from lab test results on mobile devices. You need to create the interface for the dataset in case the mobile devices lose connection to the network. Which method should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, update view. This method updates the visual representation of the dataset but does not handle offline storage. Then we have C, init. It is used for initializing a custom control, not for saving or managing data in offline scenarios. Then we have D, get client. It retrieves information about the client environment but does not handle data storage or offline scenarios. As such, the method that we should use is save data. As such, the correct option is A. Use load data and save data for basic data storage while offline. Note, when building mobile apps, one of the most common scenario app makers face is how to enable their users be productive in situations where there is limited or no connectivity at all. This has been one of the most requested features for Power Apps to allow running apps while being disconnected and to provide some support for offline data caching. Question 23. You fix a bug in the code of your application, which is currently on version 10.0.2.1. You need to publish an updated version of the solution. Which version identifier should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A 10.0.3.1. Incrementing the third segment implies the addition of a new feature or updates, not just a bug fix. Then we have C 10.1.0.2. Incrementing the second segment implies a minor release with new functionality which is unnecessary for a bug fix. Then we have D 11.0.0. Incrementing the first segment indicates a major release with significant changes far beyond a simple bug fix. As such, the version identifier that we should use is 10.0.2.2. Thus, the correct option is B. The version numbers are major, minor, build, revision. This is just a bug fix, so we only update the revision number. Note, when we create patches in Dynamics 365, the system will automatically increment the build version. For example, if our solution starts at 1.0.0.0, we export it to become 1.0.0.1. We then create a patch and the version of the patch is 1.0.1.1. If we export it now, it might become 1.0.1.2. In all cases, the build or version number has been incremented. Patches require the build or version number to increment, but not the major or minor version. Question 24. An organization uses Dynamics 365 sales. The organization has accounting and customer service departments. You must restrict users in customer service from being able to change the value of the balance field on the contact records. The accounting team must be the only team able to edit this field. You need to create the appropriate solution without any customization. What should you do first? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, enable field security for the balance field and grant the customer service team read and update permissions. This contradicts the requirement because customer service must not be able to update the field. Then we have B, create a customer service form and role and make the balance field read only. Making the field read only on a form restricts editing only in that specific form but does not secure the field itself, meaning the field could still be edited via other forms, APIs, or processes. Then we have D, create an accounting form and role and make the balance field read only. Making the field read only for accounting contradicts the requirement that the accounting team should be able to edit the field. As such, we should first enable field security for the balance field and grant the accounting team read and update permissions. Thus, the correct option is C. In Dynamics 365 customer engagement, you use field level security to restrict access to high business impact fields to specific users and teams. For example, you use this to enable only certain users to read or update the credit score for a customer. Question 25. You create a Power Apps app that integrates with Dynamics 365 customer service. You update the app and run Solution Checker. You update the app and run Solution Checker on the original solution. You receive an error stating Solution Checker cannot export the solution. You need to determine the primary cause for the issue. What is the primary cause? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, the solution was not exported before running Solution Checker. Solution Checker does not require a manual export. It can analyze the solution directly within the environment. Then we have C, the environment is in administrator mode. Administrator mode restricts user access to the environment but does not affect running Solution Checker. Then we have D, Solution Checker cannot check default solutions. Checker can analyze custom and managed solution, but this is unrelated to default solutions. As such, we can confirm that the primary cause is the original solution is locked because there is a dependent patch. Thus, the correct option is A. Solution checker fails to export patched solution. If a solution has had a patch applied, solution checker will fail to export the solution for analysis. When a solution has had a patch applied, the original solution becomes locked and it cannot be changed or exported as long as there are dependent patches that exist in the organization that identify the solution as the parent solution. To resolve this issue, clone the solution so that all patches related to the solution are rolled into the newly created solution. This unlocks the solution and allows the solution to be exported from the system. Question 26. Company implements Dynamic 365 supply chain management. The company wants a button to display in the command bar when viewing accounts. You need to add the button using the ribbon workbench. In which three areas can you add a button for the account entity? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B in the main body of a form. Buttons cannot be added directly to the main body of a form. They are added to the ribbon or command bar. Then we have C on the main application window. The ribbon workbench does not support adding buttons to the main application window as it focuses on entity specific customizations. As such, the three areas to which we can add a button for the account entity are in the home area for accounts, on the main application window, and on the associated view of the account. As such, the three areas to which we can add a button for the account entity are in the home area for accounts, on the associated view of the account and on the account form. Thus, the correct options are A, D, and E. About the options, A. You can add buttons to the command bar that appears on the home grid for accounts, visible when viewing all accounts records. Then we have D. Buttons can be added to the associated view, which lists related records tied to an account. Then we have E. Buttons can be added to the form for individual account records, allowing users to perform actions directly within the record. Question 27. The checker fails with an error due to missing security roles. You need to add security roles to the Power Apps Checker application user. Which two security roles should you add? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have a Global Discover Service role. This role relates to service discovery for environments but is not relevant to running the solution checker. Then we have C, Environment Maker. This role allows users to create and manage resources in an environment but is not needed for solution checker. Then we have E, Resource Manager. This role pertains to managing resources like apps and flows but is unrelated to the solution checker. As such, the two security roles that we should add are export customizations and solution checker. Thus, the correct options are B and D. Before you are able to run it, make sure you have the proper security roles in your common data service environment. Two of the required permissions are export customizations and solution checker. Question 28. You are creating a Power Apps app. The app must retrieve data from an API that requires two-factor authentication. You need to configure authentication. Which type of authentication should you implement? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, server to server. This is typically used for backend communication between applications and does not support two-factor authentication. Then we have B, API key based. API keys are static and do not support two-factor authentication. They are less secure than OAuth for sensitive operations. Then we have C, basic. Basic authentication uses a username and password which is not compatible with two-factor authentication. It is also less secure compared to OAuth. As such, the type of authentication that we should implement is OAuth. Thus, the correct option is D. OAuth 2.0 is the industry standard protocol for authorization. After application users provide credentials to authenticate, OAuth determines whether they are authorized to access the resources. OAuth enables two-factor authentication or certificate-based authentication for server-to-server application scenarios. Question 29. You create and deploy a Power Platform solution that includes synchronous plugins. Users report performance issues with the solution. You need to determine whether a plugin is the cause of the performance issues. Which two tools can you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, data policies. These govern data usage and sharing rules but do not help in diagnosing plugin performance issues. Then we have C, solution checker. Checks for coding best practices and issues in solutions, but does not analyze runtime performance of plugins. Then we have D, ISV Studio. It focuses on monitoring independent software vendor solutions, but is not tailored for diagnosing plugin performance in a specific environment. As such, the two tools that we can use are tracing and Microsoft Dataverse Analytics. Thus, the correct options are A and E. Tracing allows you to enable logging of plugin execution in the application logs. Microsoft Dataverse Analytics allows you to track performance metrics for your solution, including plugin execution time, which can help you identify any plugins that are causing performance issues. Question 30. You have a Microsoft Dataverse entity and a model driven app. The model driven app integrates with an external system. You plan to run business logic each time the model driven app creates a record. Running business logic must not negatively affect model driven app users. You need to implement the basic logic. What should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have a synchronous plugin registered in the pre-operation stage. It slows down the user experience due to real-time execution. Then we have B, synchronous workflow. Real-time execution can cause performance issues. As such, the option that we should use is asynchronous plug-in registered in the post-operation stage. Thus, the correct option is C. The asynchronous service executes long-running operations independent of the main Microsoft Dataverse core operation. This results in improved overall system performance and improved scalability. These were all the questions for this video. You can find the complete PDF of this video and our practice questions through the link down in the description. We will be publishing more parts to this series in the future, so please make sure to subscribe our channel and press the bell icon. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.